I guess you don't know this, but take two.
Welcome to My Friend Autism, a podcast providing validation and support for autistic people and their loved ones, with more than a few passionate rants thrown in for good measure. And now, here's your host, that autistic guy, Orion Kelly.
Welcome, my stars of Orion. I'm Orion Kelly, that autistic guy. I'm all about providing validation and support for autistic people and their loved ones. And welcome to my podcast, My Friend Autism. You can listen to this wherever you get your podcasts, or you can watch it in all its video podcast glory on my purpose-built, dedicated video podcast YouTube channel. What a sentence, Orion Kelly Podcasts. Okay. Hello. Hi. Good to have you back. This means nothing to you that I'm saying like I've been away for a little bit. You probably don't even realize that. You might. It doesn't matter. You know what? It doesn't. This is take 3, I reckon. I'm just about ready to pull the pin and take 3. I'm just going to stick with take 2, but I swear at any point I might just cut. See, you can't cut the pin. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? I can't cut the pin. This is where I'm starting from. Oh, goodness. Aren't you happy you listened? The hidden sense that you didn't know you had. Let's talk about, and I can say this any way I want. I don't care how you're supposed to say it. Interoception in autistic people. So I-N-T-E-R. Actually, do you want to have a go like a spelling bee? Interoception. How would you spell it? I'll give you I don't know. We'll give you a few seconds. Interoception. How would you spell it? Quickly say it out loud. Well, this is exciting. In fact, if you're in a public place, I want you to say it out loud. No context. And if you're in a public place, just say it out loud. What would the person spelling? Ready for the answer? Okay. I gave you a clue, by the way, T-E-R-O-C-E-P-T-I-O-N, interoception. Now, I want to get into this topic because, frankly, I think it's kind of fascinating. As an autistic person, I could probably go through the whole day and forget that I was thirsty, that I was hungry, until literally I start feeling weak, dizzy, or as I like to say, whoopy. Maybe you don't notice your heart starts pumping, starts racing until you're just about to hit absolute meltdown. So there are people, believe it or not, there are people walking the earth that have internal signals that smoothly guide them through life to tell them you're hungry, or your heart's racing because you must be excited or agitated or nervous or anxious. Not so much for autistic people, though. Now, this kind of, if you want to call it hidden sense, often lost in translation. So let's explore interoception. Do you know much about this, by the way? And some people actually refer to this as the 8th sense. Basically, it's all about tuning into signals that are coming from your own body. So internal signals that give us crucial information about our needs, our emotions, even our health. What? People get this? What happens, my friend, if this sense is out of sync? Or in fact, maybe it's permanently called in sick. It's quit on day 1 and you've never re-employed the position. I mean, this is not good. So why is interoception so important? And how does it affect our daily lives and well-being? So first up, in simple terms, what is interoception? So we talked about it being the 8th sense. What does that mean? Well, so it goes beyond the traditional senses that we, for the most part, know about. See, while most senses pick up information from the outside world, right? So hear something, you taste something, you smell something, you see something, you feel something, right? Interoception is actually an inner awareness that helps us notice and interpret signals from inside our body. So we're not picking it up from our senses that rely on things that are coming to us. Now, this sense lets us pick up things like hunger, thirst, fatigue, even whatever you call that when you get nervous. Some people call it like butterflies, fluttering, gas. I don't know. Through interoception, though, right, we feel our heart racing. We feel the goosebumps starting to form, or that urge that we absolutely have to go to the toilet. It also alerts us to other things like muscle tension. You feel sick, nauseated, simple pain, even sexual arousal. But how does interoception work? Interoception happens thanks to a network of specialized sensory receptors located throughout our organs. Now, they include your heart, your lungs, your stomach, gut, bladder, skin, and even your eyes. So these receptors send signals to a region in our brain called the insula, which processes information about the body's internal environment. It then tells us how our body feels, which gives us the clues about our emotions. So, for example, you notice your heart's racing. It could be a sign of excitement, anxiety, even fear. Or if your muscles feel tight and tense, it might mean you're just stressed or tired. See, by noticing these signals, interoception helps us understand our emotions based on what's happening in our body. Another one for autistic people could be if you're on your devices a lot and you're always looking down to some degree, when your neck starts to get tight and sore, presumably most neurotypical people would feel that, understand that, and they would either change positions or take a break. Now, for autistic people, taking a break is unthinkable. Changing positions, if you're comfortable, unthinkable. And you may not even realize that your body is trying to tell you this is not good anymore, right? So when you think about it, I just think it's bloody fascinating. Receptors send signals to a region in our brain called the insula, which actually processes information about the body's internal environment. And then it tells you how your body feels, giving you clues. That is fascinating. For autistic people, it can be a bit, well, what would you say? A bit alien. It doesn't make, really? Okay, that's interesting. By the way, I just want to put this on the books right now, okay? I'm recording this in late July 2025. I'm starting to have trouble sometimes when I'm talking live like this because there's no editing. Like I'm talking off the top of my head to you. I want words and I'm not always getting the words that I want. And I don't know if that's because I'm tired and stressed because I'm an autistic person. I'm also a dad of an autistic kid. And science alone will tell you that levels of stress, PTSD, warlike levels, that's just what science will tell you, or I'm on my way to cognitive decline. Either way, I'm just putting on the, I had a word, yeah. I wanted to say, I think I said alien. So something like, it sounds good to you guys, to autistic people, it might sound completely, and then I wanted the word, but I couldn't get the word. And then I was trying to work out what the word was, but then I just ended up saying it seems completely alien. And I really wish the word I wanted, I really wish I had it, but I just can't get it. And I don't know if I'm putting myself under pressure and stress because I'm recording this and this is live and I'm recording this live. You can't record something live. I mean, you can. I just can't say, yeah, you can. So I recorded this while I was talking live, but when you watch it, it's not live. It's a recording. People say, oh, this is recorded live. Well, then it's not live. It's just a recording. Oh, no, it was recorded live. I know it was recorded live. You can't record recorded. Right? I understand you're recording live, but when it goes out, it's not live anymore, mate. You can't have live in the word. Oh, yeah, recorded live. Then it's recorded, idiot. What I'm saying is I'm just letting you know. This, if you let me know if my words start to get worse over the years, and you'll know that I'm on my way to my quickly see? See, my soon cognitive declined deathbed, or after 3 weeks of winter school holidays, my brain has been mushed to a bloody pulp by the sheer terror and stress of being an autistic parent. And that's not about the kid, by the way. I'm autistic and I made the bloody kid. Not their fault. I'm just telling you. Okay, interoception is essential for maintaining our overall health and balance. Now, when we can sense, process, and respond to these internal cues, it helps our body stay in a balanced state. This is known, I believe, as I'm gonna struggle with words. You know, my brain has a stroke when I see a word I don't understand. Homeostasis. Does that make sense? Does that sound right? Known as homeostasis. Our body, see, helps our body. Take 3. Helps our body stay in a balanced state, known as homeostasis. I'm still letting take 3 hang over my head. I may stop this. You'll never hear this. Only I would have heard this, but then that makes no sense because you're listening to it right now. What I'm saying, you know what? The whole thing makes no sense anymore. All right, so recognizing that a racing heart means anxiety actually helps us know, oh, we better stop, we better pause, we better calm down. Let's take a breather. You know, realizing we're dehydrated reminds us, you've got to drink more water, mate. You're going to get dehydrated, you're going to feel exhausted, you're going to feel horrible. Dry lips, constipated, all these horrible things, belly aches, not good. So interoception supports a healthy sense of self and emotional connection to others, which helps us maintain well-being and resilience through our day-to-day lives. Now let's talk about the connection, or it's not even a connection, let's talk about the experience. Autistic people and interoception. This is an extremely vital sense for a human to have. Don't you think? Your body sends signals, so your stomach sends a signal to the brain saying you're feeling hungry or you need to eat for energy. Maybe your body's sending you a signal saying you are thirsty, you are scared, you are anxious, you are tired. Your brain receives that, and not only does it receive it, you get it and you eat or drink or go to the toilet or take a breather. Autistic people don't do this often. In general terms, autistic people, I'm just saying, in general terms, autistic people struggle with this. Our body may well send the signal, but it's going to a different brain. And that's all my videos. I talk about how it's so not complicated. People talk about the gut-brain connection. I've never heard anyone of any academic standard get up and actually say, we've got legit research into the gut-brain connection for autistic people, but because here's the common thing. Because think about this, guys. What's autistic? What makes you autistic? It's not your face. It's not your look. It's your brain. Now, if there's a scientifically recognized gut-brain connection and autistic people have a different brain, don't you think there needs to be a little bit more science into the different connection between gut and different brain? Because there's no help, legitimate help, that actually says, okay, autistic people, your brain's different, so the gut-brain connection should be navigated like this. So the gut-brain connection is the same, interoception. It's going to a different brain. Is it the right signal? How are we receiving it? What do we do? Research shows that autistic people experience differences in interoception more often than non-autistic people. Again, hello, autistic brain. Just like many autistic people can be sensitive to certain sensory stimuli. We can also be hyper-aware, like over-aware of everything, or some hypo-aware, oblivious, under-aware of any of their body's internal cues. So for someone who's hyper-aware, bodily sensations, and this is something that I experience, and definitely my son, actually feel more intense, right? Bodily sensations feel more intense, feel disproportionately intense because of the hyper-awareness, while others who are hypo-aware may barely notice these signals. Ever met an autistic person who seems to not experience pain? Like they could be genuinely hurt or injured and they're not complaining? This is what we're talking about. So this means autistic people have trouble accurately sensing signals from our own bodies. We might feel these signals too strongly or have difficulty telling one feeling from the other. It might actually be hard to figure out if the discomfort is due to hunger, anxiety, or something entirely different, pain, awkwardness. Some of the challenges. So, interoception is affected recognizing basic needs, right? So we've kind of mentioned how, hunger, thirst, I've got to go to the toilet, I'm in pain. It becomes challenging. This obviously means autistic people might not eat and drink in a regular schedule that neurotypical people would. It's irregular. Now, you might struggle with dehydration. You might struggle with going to the toilet on time, right? You might be busting. You might have accidents as a child, as an adult. Possible. These challenges lead to things like, obviously, constipation, other health issues related to basic bodily needs. This is important. We have basic bodily needs. When they are not consistently met, you get problems. Autistic people do not consistently meet their basic bodily needs in a timely, appropriate fashion. And I don't mean as based on other standards of other humans. I mean based on the standards of their body's needs. You don't drink, you don't eat, you don't go to the toilet on time, you don't do this, you don't do that. You're going to fail. And again, not against people's standards. You're going to fail your body. And that's not good. That is not good. Emotional regulation difficulties. Let's talk about that. So most people clearly rely on interoception because they need to understand, manage their emotions. Right? So let's say someone feels tense or they can feel their heart pumping out of their chest. They may well realize they're stressed. And they decide, I should take a break. I should take a breather. Maybe I should just stop, go for a walk. Maybe I should just calm myself down by breathing deeply. Whatever works. That's the action they take. They meet that need. For many autistic people, this connection is just simply not clear. So we might notice these internal signals right away, or we might not. But let's say we do, we still may struggle to connect them with specific emotions. So the signals may be getting through, but once they are sent to our brain, I think it's the insula, right? Our autistic brain is like, yeah, okay, cool, but sorry, which emotion is this? I get the signal, but I'm not sure what the signal is trying to tell me. It's a missed call, in effect, right? So this makes emotional regulation even harder. That's right. Emotional regulation is now even harder. And you wonder why autistic people talk about this so often. It is possible for someone to look completely calm until all these unmet needs or emotions start to pile up. And what happens then? Intense emotional responses. Now, these can sometimes result in autistic meltdowns or shutdowns, which again are survival responses when the body is overwhelmed. Is a brain reaction, an autistic brain reaction. Now, the difficulty with introspection, okay, so interoception, yes, but now let's talk about introspection. Introspection and alexithymia. So, interoception also plays a big role in introspection. Okay, do you get it? Interoception, the signals going to the brain. Introspection is the ability to reflect on and understand our own thoughts and feelings. Now, for autistic people, this introspective process is really challenging because it's harder to interpret bodily signals when they're sent to the brain and connect them with the mental or emotional states they're signaling. Now, alexithymia is often linked to this, often linked to interoceptive differences. So if internal signals are misinterpreted or go unnoticed, it becomes difficult to label emotions and understand how you're feeling. This just leads to confusion about your own emotional state. And it just results in, people call it a brain fog, a fuzziness of the mind, or just an unclear sense of self. And that's one of the worst feelings, just not knowing yourself, feeling like you don't know yourself, how you feel, and you can't talk to people when they ask you how you're going, how you're feeling, or you don't actually know. I don't know. A lot of times, honestly, people will go, how you doing? Or, how you feeling? And I say, I'm not sure. I don't know. Honestly, that's the only, I don't know. I'm not sure. I could do a quick study of myself to work it out, but if you ask me to tell you, I'm not sure. I don't know. I think I might be good, but I don't know. It sounds stupid, but I swear to you it's true. That's why, parents, carers, teachers, friends, partners, doctors, nurses, anyone, teachers, whoever, you should never ask an autistic person number one, a question that is completely unsolicited, right? Or off the top of your head, just bang, and expect an answer in any time frame that you think is remotely appropriate. If you're going to ask an autistic child or autistic adult, how are you feeling? Like you think something's wrong. Are you okay? How are you feeling? And you're not prepared to give them minutes and just sit there with them and let them think about it. And if you need to, gently remind them, are you okay? What's wrong? What's happening? But not regularly. Minutes. And you're constantly jumping in every 7 seconds. Did you hear me? Hello? I asked you a question. What's the answer? Hey, bombarding them. Every time you bombard them, you delay the answer further. That's just a little tidbit based on this sense of self. I mean, this is just science, guys. This is just science. So I'm not too interested in arguing with you about asking autistic people questions and getting angry when they don't answer you straight away or quickly enough. I just don't care. It's not our problem. It's your problem. I don't care about your stupid, petty expectations. They're irrelevant here. Just like I don't expect elephants to climb trees. You do. I don't. Why? Because I'm not a moron. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying you'd have to be a moron to expect elephants to climb trees. Maybe they do. I don't know. All right, let's talk about the heightened or diminished experiences of pain. This is a really big one. So, interoceptive differences can also affect how autistic people experience pain. This may be a big thing for you. You may be an autistic person yourself, or you might be a parent, a carer, a partner, loved one, friend, employer, teacher, whatever, of an autistic person. You're like, wow, I could not work out this person and their tolerance for pain. There is no rhyme or reason to it. So some of us have a real heightened sensitivity to pain. In other words, physical discomfort feels so intense, way more intense to us than it would be expected to feel to a neurotypical person who's experienced a similar pain. Now, automatically this leads most people to think we're just overreacting. Oh, here we go again, another autistic person making a scene. But it's really important to understand that each person's experience of pain is real. It is absolutely real and unique to their own interoception. See, again, we're not talking about la-di-da, we're talking about science here. Everyone has interoception from their body to their brain, the signals being sent. Every person has it differently. Every experience is going to be different. And by the way, why do people fight so hard in life to be as similar or the same as everyone else? It's so strange to me. As in, like, I've got to talk about how we can experience pain differently, and that's not something that should be mocked or judged. But that can only be based on the premise that it's the goal of humanity to all be the same. But that makes no sense. Anyway, I don't know. Take 3! No, I'm sticking with it. Now, Other autistic people can experience pain, like we talked about, completely in reverse. So it's a diminished sensitivity to pain. This makes it super hard to notice when you're hurt, as in you don't notice when you're hurt. You don't know you're unwell. Serious health consequences can occur because if you're an autistic person, you have low pain sensitivity, you're not going to recognize symptoms as easily as others, symptoms of injuries, illness, infection, until the crap hits the fan. The condition becomes severe. The only thing I'd say about this is, again, this is not a stereotypical presentation of being an autistic person. You don't feel pain, you're autistic. It just isn't right. For example, when it comes to like being unwell with just the common cold or whatever, or small things like little grazes or paper cuts, those kind of things, or even, like when stuff's done to your teeth. Actually, I tried this once. Actually, I might have tried it twice. When you go to the dentist and they put on that stuff on your teeth to help them feel a bit whiter, but it's basically, I don't know, like a toothpastey acid. It's so dangerous that if it gets on your tongue or your face, they've got to quickly wash it off. Like it's, and you're supposed to keep it on for an hour or something, or you put it in your mouth through these little, like a mouth guardy thing, and you go to bed and you wake up in the morning, you take it out and it helps your teeth get whiter. Presumably there's some people that do this every night. God only knows. I've done it twice in my lifetime, and I'm not joking when I say it was at least 3 days before I was able to not feel the pain of it. The pain of the teeth, whatever the acidy whitening stuff does. My mouth hurt. My teeth hurt. It affected my whole quality of life. Little things, paper cuts, belly aches, it brings my whole quality of life down. There was a point not long ago, so in the last decade or so, where I've had a couple of different accidents. One incorporated a hip. About 12 months later, when I was swimming on holidays, I started to complain to my wife that my hip really hurts. Now, 12 months prior to that, I'd hurt my hip in a car accident. Well, I didn't know I hurt my hip. I mean, I got out of the car, I was alone, and walked, 10 Ks home at 5 a.m. And that was that. 12 months later, my wife, you've got to go see someone about it. I go to get the scans, go to the orthopedic surgeon or whatever, and it's like, oh, yeah, you've got like a fractured acetabulum or whatever the bloody thing's called, and there's some floating cartilage, and you'll definitely need a clean out, right? That's going to be very painful. I banged up my hip and had floating cartilage. And the acetabulum, I think it's something like there's a ball and a socket kind of thing, right? And so the impact kind of went like that, if that makes sense. Anyway, I'd have a clean out. But I lived my life for 12 months. I'd lived my life for 12 months, unaware, until it blew up. I did a foot injury. I was on the trampoline with the boys. And I was jumping on the trampoline with the boys, and basically, if you're watching the video podcast, my foot's flat, normal, right? I jump. And then as I come down, my big toe, I guess most of my big toe, it curled inwards before I, hit the trampoline. So my body weight pushed my big toe folded inwards down into the trampoline. And then I bounced back up and I felt excruciating pain. Literally like I just broken my big toe in half down at the joint where the big toe hits the foot or something, right? It felt that bad. And then I put some ice on it. It didn't blow up. It didn't bruise or blow up like you would expect. But I still did the right thing, went to the GP, got an X-ray, nothing to see here. Okay? Now, I reckon that was about 2 years ago, and just got back from a winter holiday with the family and did a lot of swimming, and I hadn't felt my foot feel that sore in 2 years, like really sore, really horribly sore, because it wasn't, sure, it might not have been fractured, but who knows in this day and age? Who knows? We're talking about one dude looks at a photo, as he looks through 1,000 photos in a day and, makes a report. But, okay, so let's say something else is wrong with it, ligament, nerve, whatever. Something's wrong with my foot that I heard on the trampoline 2 years ago, but I've just moved on. As soon as I said no break there, I thought, okay, cool. But of course, the pain, I've experienced pain through the 2 years, but I've never really worried about it because it's like, what's the difference? But the level of pain and the level of trauma to that toe, that foot, is actually significant. But it's not something I've really worried about. I've pushed aside, put something on my teeth, and it's the end of my life. I know these are just personal experiences, but it just shows that there is no right or wrong, or there is no one way or another way. It is so contradictory in its experiences. And again, because of things like interoception. And don't forget social interactions. Like interoception differences obviously influence our social life, our social interactions. Because look at it like this. To interact socially with others, what do you really need to do? Well, I would have thought you need to rely on your ability to recognize and manage your emotions and the emotions of others. I guess that's how you interact and relate to people, which is a struggle for autistic people. Interoceptive challenges make this really difficult for autistic people to pick up stuff. Emotional cues might make it harder to notice when a situation is becoming overwhelming, even unsafe. Again, these show you how much more complex and nuanced all the different challenges of being an autistic person are. Oh, you have trouble in social and communication scenarios, you are autistic. But why? All right, there's different reasons why. And that really does filter through to health and safety, just pure on health and well-being. Like struggling to recognize or respond to basic needs, your own body's basic needs, will lead to chronic health issues. It just will. You can neglect your body for as long as you can until you no longer can. And then your body will say, that's it, champ. You've had your fun. Now it's my turn. So problems like poor nutrition, constantly being dehydrated, gastrointestinal issues, they are common. On top of that, the stress of consistently misinterpreting internal signals contributes to mental health challenges, things like anxiety and depression. Think about it. If you consistently misinterpret or fail to even identify what the internal signals being sent to your brain are, what do you think is going to happen? Again, this complete lack of sense of self, being able to read your own signals, not being able to read your own signals, you're going to be exhausted. And things like anxiety and depression are almost inevitable. So how about a few practical strategies? They might work, they might not, but I think it's good to put them out there. You can use to navigate interoception challenges as an autistic person. All right, so first up, awareness. So interoceptive awareness exercises, even activities, they're basically designed to help you become more attuned to your internal signals. So how do you do that? Some people like to do like a body scan. I guess it's kind of like mindfulness or meditation, but they're just going through their body and just trying to work out if they can feel discomfort of any kind. Tightness. And we did this in an acting school too. Just work out where the tightness is and try and release it. I never understood that. I guess I never released it, but still. And they'd make a weird noise too. Like you do it, you move your body, and this is me in acting class, move my body and you find tightness and and it's funny because I've done that all my life when I yawn, right? But everyone finds it annoying. It's like, I'll yawn, but it's more like right? I'm releasing, and then I go to acting school and they go, this is a thing. I'm like, I'm before my time here. Guided relaxation techniques. That's not a word, but you get it. These can help you notice and interpret your body's signals more effectively. So over time, you'll work out, okay, I think I can connect to these sensations now. That rumbling tummy, that gut, might mean hunger, or that kind of fluttering butterfly tummy might mean anxiety, fear, emotions, nervousness. Other things include visual type supports, communication tools. You might use visual aids, you might use emotion charts, you might use body maps. Not as stupid as it sounds. They're really powerful for autistic people because they have to recognize their own internal states. Emotion charts are good too. You can actually link physical sensations to emotions. Super important. So if someone feels like they've got a headache, chart might help them identify that this could be connected to stress. Someone has a stomach ache. This could be connected to hunger. It's helpful. Routine, super important for autistic people. How about establishing a consistent routine around interoception? Because we love routines, so it's not going to be an issue. What does that mean, Orion? Well, setting reminders to take care of basic needs. Eat now, drink now, take a toilet break. Does that make sense? By the way, regular meal times can help ensure that your hunger doesn't go unnoticed because you're eating regularly. Even if the internal cues are subtle or hard to recognize. These kind of routines can really help you navigate it. So these routines create external reminders, which makes it less necessary to rely entirely on the internal signals that you may miss or misinterpret. You should also look at your environment. Try to create a supportive environment. So reduce sensory overload. Embrace the helpful technologies that work for you. Like we said, phone alerts work for some people. Tell you, have a drink or take a break. These empower autistic people to manage their needs more effectively. Again, the needs of your body. Autistic people can separate themselves to the needs of their body. Now, that isn't actually true. You can't separate yourself to the needs of your body. You are your body. But people will go, I'm not setting no bloody reminder to take a break because it's good for my body or drink water because it's good for my body. I'm not going to do that because that's going to get in the way of what I want to do. Okay, well, I'm trying to remind autistic people, I'm here to remind you, you can't separate yourself from the needs of your own body. You don't like taking a break because you want to keep doing things. I get it. You don't want to sip water because you don't feel thirsty and you don't want to be forced to do something. Demand avoidance kicks in. I get that too. But look at it like this. This isn't a demand. This isn't an order. This is a reminder that you are a person and you have a body and your body has needs. And you need to take care of your body because it's you. Can't be separated. These are really important. So, setting up an environment that works with you, it provides a sense of control over those internal states, makes daily life less overwhelming, more manageable. I'd also look at allowing lots of space for regulation, so stimming, repetitive behaviors, whatever you think it is for you. I mean, there's been lots of research suggesting that stimming helps regulate the autonomic, is that it? The autonomic nervous system. And that actually affects interoceptive signals. So stimming, science will tell you stimming helps regulate the autonomic nervous system, which actually affects interoceptive signals. In other words, if autistic people start to stim hard or repetitive behaviors hard when someone's asked them a question about themselves or they're trying to work out something, let them do it. Don't stop them. That is not getting in the way. That's helping. In other words, these behaviors help autistic people focus better on their body's signals, like noticing their heart's pumping. Now, that sounds contradictory, right? If someone's like, how are you? And then you start, going into what they might call loud or aggressive or repetitive, stimming type movements or just ways of regulating yourself. They're going to think, well, that's going to get in the way of answering my question. But actually, it's not. That's going to help you as an autistic person. So you need to encourage stimming. it helps autistic people not only regulate themselves, but actually manage their internal states. How about that one for you? How about you like those apples, my friends? Yes. Yes. Another one is offering understanding and validation. Just support autistic people with their interoception differences. I mean, like we said, judging is so much easier. Isn't it so much better? Isn't it so much better to punch someone in the face than stop for a second and utilize some kindness and understanding and try and see life from their perspective and wonder what happened, why this is happening? I mean, it's so much better. Who doesn't want to just smack someone in the face? Yeah, but there's no point to it. There's no use to it, and it's the wrong thing to do. So you are smacking an autistic person, right? You're punching them right in the face when your first reaction is judgment, blame. It's just not helpful. You've got to support them. You understand and respect their unique experiences and needs. Because it's essential to recognize that autistic people's perceptions of their bodies are very different from neurotypical perceptions and expectations. But that's not a bad thing or a broken thing. That's a difference because we have a different brain. Our responses to internal signals can be surprising, unfamiliar, odd, weird to some. Fair enough. They're still genuine. They're still based on real sensations we're experiencing. So supporting and validating those, even if they don't align with your experience as a neurotypical person, just creates an environment of support and safety and empathy. Not an environment where every time you walk in, you be autistic, your own family, your flesh and blood, or whoever just punches you in the nose. Acknowledging and embracing these differences is really helpful for autistic people. Physical activities, body awareness, super helpful too. Some people like yoga. I like Pilates. Pilates is cool. Gentle stretching all helps improve body awareness and your interoceptive skills. So activities that focus on movement and breathing patterns. They allow you to tune into your muscles, your breath, your heartbeat. So this doesn't have to be hardcore exercise. That's why this kind of, stretching or body movement resistance-based things are really good, because you actually feel where the muscles are tiring or they're tight, they're weak, they're strong. It's really helpful. They enhance your overall interoceptive awareness, and they make it easier to notice and interpret those internal signals being shot up to your brain, and you're going, what are you trying to tell me here? Another one is just practicing your breathing, like deep breathing, even just becoming aware of your heartbeat. Breathing exercises, heartbeat awareness practices, they help us connect to our body's rhythms. You might use smart stuff you kind of know what your usual heart rate is, your kind of resting heart rate, your standard heart rate, and you also know what your usual, I'm stressed and it's going to jump up to about here usually. You can actually gauge it and compare it. You could count breaths. Put your hand on your chest just to feel your heartbeat. Because it is your heartbeat, it is your heart, you should be pretty familiar with it. You should get to know the signals. This is about me. This is a bit high for me. This is a bit low for me. Again, it helps you recognize signs of stress, or calmness. Because if you're feeling your heart rate or you're breathing in a way that's a really deep, healing, slow breath, I'm in a pretty good place. Your breath starts to become fast and shallow, not so good place. It's going to help you with emotional regulation. Checking in on yourself. Have you ever done this before? As in, do you regularly just check in at specific times of the day with your body? Because as you said, your body has unmet needs as an autistic person. How can you meet them? All this means is you just stop for a sec. This isn't out there stuff. Just stop for a sec and go, how am I feeling? Am I thirsty? I think I'm okay. Am I hungry? Am I feeling energized? Am I feeling tired? Am I feeling meh? Am I in pain? Am I in discomfort? How does my body feel right now? Not out loud even, no one around, just you. You're sitting there, how does my body feel right now? Just go through it. Because then you'll start to recognize patterns and you'll start to recognize the cues. And these check-ins strengthen your interoceptive awareness and they help you with your self-care. Last strategy. So utilizing movement-based therapies. We talked about the more exercise type stuff. That might not be your thing. OT, occupational therapy. Have you heard of dance therapy? Or somatic experiencing. Supports autistic individuals in connecting with their body sensations. So movement-based therapies. They help you focus on different types of movement and how that different movement impacts how you feel and your body signals. How different types of movement impact your emotions and bodily signals. Do you find there's different types of movements, exercises or movements you do that you don't realize make you feel good? Like you might say, I always feel good when I walk, go for a walk. Always feel good when I dance. I always feel good when I'm lifting some weights or doing some Pilates or whatever it is. This is so powerful because it increases your body's awareness and process internal sensations in a far more appropriate and safe way for your body's needs.
My Friend Autism with Orion Kelly. Join our community on the socials by following Orion Kelly on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X. You know what? He's on all of them, so go find him.
Yes, you are the best. Love you for being here and supporting this podcast of mine, listening to it or watching it. And, if you want to get into more, I've actually got a whole playlist on my primary YouTube channel, Orion Kelly, that autistic guy, on dysregulation and autism. And I have videos on alexithymia and all the kind of things that really touch on this part of being autistic. And you may well be a late diagnosed autistic adult. This is the kind of stuff you really want to sink your teeth into. So I recommend you go and check out my primary channel on YouTube, Orion Kelly, that autistic guy, and just click on that playlist about dysregulation. And I hope you can get something out of it.
Thanks for listening to My Friend Autism with Orion Kelly. To binge all the episodes, check out the YouTube channel or grab a copy of his book. Visit orionkelly.com.au. Thanks again, and see you soon.